Hi, I'm Ilva if you have not met me before, and this is Baxter. I am a yoga teacher. Baxter is a dog. He is a very good assistant. So today I thought we're going to go through a bit of breathing because I found there's quite a lot of people asking me about breathing, and I think it is quite a lot in the time. So, both in the sense that obviously COVID being around, being a thing, it takes our breath away. So like one of the symptoms is shortness of breath or just the inability to breathe properly. And also I think COVID creating stress, lockdowns creating stress, a lot more people are getting more aware of the fact or more aware of the effects that breathing and being able to control our breath and breathing properly can have on us. So I'm going to go through kind of how to breathe properly. I think that is something that we just never taught. It was definitely something that I was not taught. And once we recognize that, we are off to a kind of a flying start. And then we'll go through some breathing exercises. I'm not going to say how many videos this is going to be or how long they're going to be, because sometimes I do just rant on for a while. But if you have any questions about breathing, anything kind of breathing in yoga class or whilst exercising, or any other questions about how to breathe or what good it is to breathe, feel free to let me know and I'll happily try and answer those questions or kind of directing the videos towards anything that you guys might be wondering. So starting off, like I said, couldn't breathe when I was younger. Took me a long time to understand all of that. When I was a teenager, being in college, I suffered quite a lot from anxiety and was quite stressed about schoolwork and everything else that teenagers are stressed about, and had a few panic attacks. And my mum told me, you need to learn how to breathe. And I was 17 and I didn't really think about that, didn't really care. I went traveling and then finally went to a yoga class, and actually I wanted to go to a Pilates class, but there was a yoga studio in town, so that's where I went instead. That's a secret that I haven't told anyone that I actually wanted to do Pilates when I started yoga. But here we are. I obviously enjoyed yoga quite a lot. However, it took me about 2 to 3 years, I would say, of practicing yoga pretty much every day, at least a little bit, before I had that kind of, oh, I see. This is how you breathe. I get what you're talking about now, Mum. And so yeah, it took quite a while to really get that understanding of how the breath works and how it can really affect us, affect how you interact with the world around you, and it can actually really change the world within you. It changes the kind of nervous system's response. The automatic response can actually be controlled by your breath. So like the hormones that are being sent out, the heart rate, everything else that we kind of think of as things that we cannot control can definitely be guided by the breath. So by feeling like you know what you're doing when you're breathing will really give you a sense of control and just a general sense of having some authority of your life and over your reaction to everything that happens around you. So that's my story about breath. It took a while to get into, but then once I did, it was it's not something that I don't breathe consciously or mindfully all the time, but it's more like you unlock the door and then it's open and you can much easier pass in and out, and you can much easier become aware of your breath, and you can much easier utilize it in a beneficial way. So that's what breathing is for me. The first thing that I want to talk about in regards to breathing is breathing through your nose. Like I said, we're not really taught how to breathe. It's just something that we do. The first day we're born, it's a scream. And then we carry on and there's no real effort being spent on it. I think schools are getting better at it now as more research is going into it. But yeah, breathing through our nose. We have 2 holes in our face that air can pass in and out of. One is mainly made to get nutrients into the body, and also as a way to communicate with other humans. So for us to communicate with other people, we need to be able to shape our mouth to create different types of pressure and etc., which then makes sounds or sound waves that's picked up by our fellow human ears, and that's how they understand what we mean. That means that there is possible, or air can pass from our mouth into our lungs and back out again. That does not mean that it's beneficial to breathe through our mouth. We've got this other opening, our nose, which is designed for us to breathe through. It's got everything that you need to breathe. So it changes or kind of regulates the temperature so that the air is not too cold or too hot. It also regulates the moisture as the air enters and exits the body, so we're not breathing in super dry air that kind of shrivels up our lungs. And also it filters out any kind of bigger particles like flies. Have you been out running and swallowed the fly? That doesn't happen if you breathe through your nose. And also smaller particles, smaller dust particles or bacteria and other things can be filtered through those little nose hairs that no one likes and everyone thinks are awful. Actually, they're quite good. So if you're not breathing through your nose, you're just breathing in everything that's in the air and it's just entering your lungs with no filtration whatsoever. It's not the correct temperature, it's not the correct moisture, and it's got so many other particles in it that will make you want to cough. Also, when you're breathing through your mouth, there is no filter going out, so you're much more likely to spread your germs, COVID. And also there is no filter for the moisture, so you're expelling a lot more moisture out of your body, making you feel dehydrated, exhausted, fatigued, everything else. If you have ever been to yoga class with me, you know I've always got water with me because I spend a lot of time talking, which means there is a lot of air moving in and out of my mouth, meaning there's a lot of moisture leaving my body and I need to have somewhere to get it back in again. So if you spend a lot of time talking as well, maybe you're just a talker or maybe it's your job, you need to drink a lot more water than the kind of 8 glasses, whatever that means. 3 liters. Everyone should just drink 3 liters of waters. More if you're exercising or talking a lot. Other things about breathing through our nose, temperature, like I mentioned. An interesting fact, I think, is that skiers who exercise in cold temperatures are much more likely to have asthma because they are exercising, they are breathing through their mouth, because that means you can get more air into your body quicker. But the air is obviously cold because they're skiing, so it's snowy and -degrees outside. And that damages the lungs, which can create or cause asthma. So be mindful, especially now in winter time, to especially when you're outside, breathe through your nose. You should also breathe through your nose all the time when you are exercising. It's not beneficial to breathe through your mouth. I know that if you go for a run and you're not used to breathing through your nose, it will feel like you are not getting enough air. What you should do then is simply run slower and build up that resilience again. So it's not about getting more oxygen into your body, it's about becoming better at utilizing the oxygen that's already in your body. So you don't need to kind of pass air quicker, you need to be able to utilize what you already have better. And that's one of the things they have noticed with COVID as well, that it's about being able to utilize as much oxygen as possible rather than being able to breathe quicker. So that's definitely something to think about. Another benefit of breathing through your nose is that if you close your mouth now, if it wasn't already, and just notice your tongue as you're breathing. And then open your mouth and breathe through your mouth. Where is your tongue now? When you have your mouth closed and breathing, your tongue sits at the back of your teeth, in the roof of your mouth, keeping your teeth in place. Obviously, most of us have already lost all our teeth and are not going to get that many more real ones. But especially for kids, this is essential, because if you or if a child lose their teeth, as they do, and don't have their tongue to direct or guide the teeth to where they're going to go, they will start coming out in all sorts of angles, and they will need to have retainers or something to straighten their teeth out. Actually, breathing through your nose will help create straighter teeth. The same goes for adults. Obviously, it might not be as big a difference because we already have our teeth, so it takes a lot longer for them to move. But if you are noticing that your teeth are becoming crooked, it might be because you're breathing through your nose, breathing through your mouth. Ways to avoid breathing through your mouth is obviously when you're exercising, think about it. It will be hard, especially in the beginning, and I'm not saying that you need to go full in, but maybe 5 minutes, especially in the beginning, to warm up your lungs. Just breathe in and out through your nose, and then try and extend that 5 minutes increments each week or something. If you tend to snore or wake up with a dry mouth or feeling super dehydrated, chances are you are breathing through your mouth at night, and you can buy tape. Just Google mouth breathing tape or something, and it's just a tape that you put over your mouth, which makes it harder to breathe through your mouth. You're more likely to breathe through your nose. You can also use this in the day. I think a lot of people, especially now when we're sitting at home in our home offices, that are definitely not kind of ergonomically ideal. We sit down and it becomes harder to breathe, so we breathe a bit more through our mouth. It's also a bit of a stress response to breathe through our mouth. And you can then also, unless you're talking to someone, feel free to have a bit of tape over your mouth then as well, just to retrain yourself to breathe through your nose. This will become easier and easier the more you think about it. That's probably everything I've got to say about breathing through your nose. Just do it. It is better for your lungs. It regulates the temperature, the moisture, and filters the air on the way in and on the way out. It will definitely minimize the spread of any illness, including COVID, being waterborne. It will spread through water particles. If you have a filter of hairs that stops water particles from entering and exiting your body, you're doing pretty well. It will help the health of your mouth. You're not breathing in loads of bacteria. You're not dehydrating your mouth, which again can create bacterial growth, which creates bad breath and general kind of poor microbiome in your mouth, which will also cause tooth decay and everything else. As you can tell, breathing through your mouth is terrible. Don't do it. Breathing through your nose, absolutely fantastic. It will enhance your life and your energy levels, and you'll be much less likely to be caught out by any kind of illnesses that affect your lungs. Brilliant. Thanks for that. Told you I can get a bit ranty.